Nuku is contesting against poverty. He's contesting against underdevelopment.
So we have been involved in the community. The issue of, doing something, showing a footprint. We have actually been involved in the community doing things.
The whole issue about elections, the candidate tell the people, who are you? Why you want a job?
Most of the major challenges in my GB, especially the young folks.
We want that tax to come with compensation.
Okay.
We empowered those young people with employment opportunities.
Okay.
For me, it was imperative because these were young people that were disenfranchised and marginalized in our society.
Even in the opposition, his political leader better not hear. Zero disagreement with Costa because of that.
Settle with Honorable Cabinet Janet. We owe him, and it is already been said that indeed we should pay.
Would you, a Mexican, to be Liberian Honorary Consul in Mexico? The answer is no.
They are not charging the president the fact and the truth of leadership.
Okay.
They are very, very unfair.
A lot of young people benefited from a scholarship, including President Chairman Molu. I look forward to a day when President Buya will suspend Mobake Molu for not controlling the partisans for attacking candidates.
We need to teach civics in all schools across the country. We need for citizens to know their basic duties and responsibilities.
The Constitution is for the people. And before the people make now a constitutional amendment, they must be educated on what they are making.
When they receive this information, they don't even verify. They don't look at the questions on the actual test. There are times I will give a children maybe 40 questions, they give us 50 answers. What do they take the additional 10 questions from?
We have gone through a process. If you realize that you are not satisfied, launch a proper investigation. Let this investigation go on, and then we realize who did wrong or who are the perpetrators, and then they be brought to book and to the public, right?
Show them that we work together in making sure we can get to the bottom of this investigation in establishing the perpetrator of the act.
When we have leadership, key actors, key players in the opposition community, we have protection under the law. But even right now, the Liberian National Police is a partisan police.
Nuku is contesting against poverty. He's contesting against underdevelopment.
What a pleasant way to welcome you to today's presentation of the KMTV Morning Show. We are here this morning again to discuss those issues that matters. It is about time we young people stand up. The media needs to, be more vibrant, create the space wherein we discuss those issues of national concern. I'm humbled to be here this morning. There are too many things happening in the country taking into consideration. In all of the looks and corners of Liberia, citizens, there are, various statements coming out. Some are in support of the government, the decision by the president on those three officials, top officials in government. And some are saying they need tougher punishment. The president has embarked on his nationwide tour. We'll look at that. We'll be looking at the sanction from the U.S. government. And this morning, the CDC COP head, Ben Tukpa, appeared on OKFN. We're also going to be looking at his statement on OKFN. He went there purposely to defend their action. We'll talk about that as well, and then other trending issues. But just before that, and before we go to the local dailies, I don't know, we have one paper just quickly to see that. We will bring you a little bit of reflection. We'll go back and bring you a statement by President Ellen Johnson, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf when she was president, and negotiating with Firestone on the well-being of citizens, how Firestone should take care or cater to citizens in Magibi and other parts of the country where Firestone is operating. And we will also be bringing you a tip from the president, the current president, George Weah, in negotiating with Firestone as well. We'll look at that. And JFK has a new medical team from China. We'll just in passing give you a little synopsis about what are they saying about the new team, what are doctors at JFK saying about the new team. And in our conversation, we will be bringing you a tip on the reaction of citizens as it relates to the sanction on the 3 top government officials. What are they saying? What are their reaction? Are they in support of the president's action? You think they need tougher punishment or tougher action by the government? We will talk about that. And then we'll also be bringing you a tip by young Liberians that took the street. You remember in, is it 2003, 2005 to the 1990s when President Taylor was still around, where you listen to You Came Mama, You Came Papa, I'll vote for you. Now they are talking about sanction, no sanction, I will vote for you. We'll also be bringing you a tip of that as well. This morning we have with us the former Vice President of the PUL, the President of Liberia, as our guest, and an investigative Liberian journalist, a big brother Otavin Toga Williams is our guest this morning. And so just before, like I said, just before we rush to our guest, will bring you just a copy of the local dailies. It's very interesting. It's the front page. It's from Front Page Africa. We'll bring you that this morning. And this paper is sold for $40 Liberian. And it says here in the front page of the paper, it says here, we as supporters care less about sanction. The supporters of President George Manneh, we are care less about sanction. And so that's what the front page of the front page newspaper is saying here. You can get yourself a copy and check it out, know exactly what's in that paper. This morning we have, like I said, the former Vice President of the PUL is our guest, Mr. Otavin Toga Williams. We want to say welcome. This is your second appearance.
Yeah, my second time. And obviously, I'd like to extend thanks and appreciation to the management of the institution for their hard work. And I'm gratified to be home because as a media person, everywhere I went to learn is a media institution. It means I'm home and I feel protected. That is what I'm here. And I hope our conversation will be safe.
Very safe. Now, how's life going on, just quickly?
Well, we're okay. Like we said, the last time I came on this platform, I told you, this time around, we're not doing much talking. We were in the background, helping our international partners in making sure we do what is right for Liberia, because just talk alone was not enough. So at least we're making progress gradually.
Okay. Now, let's begin with the president nationwide tour. The president embarked on on his nationwide tour on Monday, starting with Montserrat County. Yesterday he was in District 10 and he made some statement encouraging citizens to continually support the WIA-led government, encouraging citizens that he will bring development to seek the well-being of citizens. I don't know as to whether our guy there can just give a little tip on it so that Mr. William can see exactly what probably he could make his point on it. But the president was in District 10 on yesterday and he made a brief statement. I don't know as to whether this is the appropriate time for such statement. This is the time where with the call on the international community on this government, you think it's appropriate. But while we await the tip to come up, what's your own take on the president nationwide tour?
The president nationwide tour, for me, is a feeble one. One thing I know, as far as my knowledge is concerned, Liberians, we are very good in making leaders to be dictators. Okay. And this is where I'm seeing gradually we're taking President George William. You saw in the streets, you came Mama, you came Papa, I vote for you. You know Bog, I vote for you. Sanction, no sanction, I vote for you. That to just say who we are as a nation and people. We are very good in making leaders to be dictators, and I do not want President Weah to be carried away to turn gradually to a dictator. And this is where we're ruling gradually. My first interaction with the president, I said to him, Mr. President, look, we have had situations where past government they were record for bad human rights policy, bad governance. So I believe that it was a perfect opportunity for the president to learn from the Doe, the Taylor regime, and some of the mistakes on the former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and then we make the necessary progress. But what we're seeing is like we haven't learned from the past, and this is very painful for us, and this is a sad situation for the country.
Do you think the height of the president to embark on this tour, moving towards 2023, is closely to an height of pre-campaign?
Of course, it is. When you hear the kids in Waterside, you in West Point, when you hear them rejoicing, session, no session, Mr. President, do not be carried away by those issues. That's how the people did with Samuel Doe. They played Margaret out of him, they made him to turn to dictator, then they left from under him, and he felt alone. It was Doe that President Johnson was asking, where is the Liberian people money? They were not asking those people that were surrounding him and giving him undue praises. They were asking him alone. So it was with former President Taylor. Everybody you saw around former President Taylor, making him to make the necessary mistakes, making him to be that dictator he went. At the close of the day, it was former President Taylor alone that was standing in that docket, and it was requesting him asking all of those questions. So President George Weah, if he's carrying the glamours of pretense, I can assure you he will be no different from our past leaders. And it is a form of pre-campaign, which should not a violation to the election law. Of course, if the president went somewhere and left money and left rice, what do you think? Is the president not in charge of us? And another thing about the president tour, when you take a critical analysis of the president tour, the president tour is not what he said it would be. The essence of the tour is to go and grab the views of the people, have interaction with them. Is the tour interactive? Are people given the opportunity to ask questions? It is a show, play, managed situation. You speak, I speak, she speaks, the president speaks, and then the program is over. So it is a managed program. So if the president was going to get the view of the citizens, if the program was interactive, then you say the president is interacting with the people. So the nomenclature, the core theme of the tool is different from the actuality. So this is where we are.
Okay, we have this morning the former vice president of the PUL, Mr. Otavian Williams, as our guest. You following us, we want to say thanks so much for joining us, and then you can also tune in to KM Radio International, and we have our live online radio for those of you out of Liberia and wanting to follow us and making your point. You can join us via our radio, KM Radio International. Download the app on Play Store, and you can follow on just right there. Later on, maybe a few minutes from now, we'll open the line so you're making your point. Now, citizens in Liberia were calling on this government, continuously calling on the government on the height of corruption. They didn't listen until America took a grave action, a very, very strong action on 3 of the top government officials. The direct office that represents the president in his absence is placed on a sanction, and U.S. is saying that no one should do business with this person. First, what's your take on the action by the U.S. government?
But let me ask you one thing. Are you surprised that we have sanction? When you go into school, if at the close of the year, if you zero fail, you know, zero pass, you know, nobody can tell you. You don't have to be rocket scientist, because from the way you study, the way you go to school, the way you carry yourself will tell you either you will fail or you will pass. The sanction shouldn't be a surprise situation for us, to us. And if the government is telling me that they are surprised that sanction came, there's something wrong with them. Then they are not normal. When you sat here in the silver mining case by the integrity hub, Global Witness, you compromise that case and told Global Witness that Global Witness is a big black lie. You expect that to be sanctioned? You remember how former President Taylor was sanctioned? It was Global Witness and Amnesty International that dragged former President Taylor and his official into sanction. You came and played with Global Witness and believed that you would go free. I did a story headline in 2009 and 2008, and the headlines of that story, I will give you a copy. It called Hunting Sanction. Hunting Sanction. We predicted that obviously there was going to be a sanction. The scene where former President Taylor went about and not listening to people and not doing what he should be doing rightly. You go to Senegal for investment. People Senegal get investment opportunity to bring here. Senegal are looking for investment. You say you go bring people to bring Fantikino na investment. Well, just imagine, we have now had the opportunity for our president, the president of the Republic of Liberia, to go to Washington and have a friendly and cordial relationship with Washington as customary. Something our former President Charles Taylor regretted up to today's date. And even advised that any Liberian leader coming after him must not make the same mistake he made by refusing to work with Washington. Then we come on President George Weah, we making the same mistake and people clapping, hey, we gotta do America. No, President Weah disappointed some of us because we were stooge critics of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf regime. At one point, the president believed that some of us were sedition. And I said to her, no, Madam President, we're not sedition. But we have to be critical of you because you made a lot of promises and you raised our hopes. So if you're sleeping, we have to remind you. And at certain point on President Johnson Sirleaf regime, there was no opposition because the opposition stopped talking. 12 was working at Finance Ministry. Maggie was working at internal affairs, and all of the guys in the CDC was hooked up. So at certain point, they were not even speaking. The lone opposition to President Sirleaf was the media. The media was critical of the regime because the opposition stopped talking. Because President Sirleaf, you like her, she's the political mosaic of Liberia, and she will remain that political mosaic until she died. So she managed her way. And she made the opposition was dumb.
What do you think important this sanction have brought to this government?
There are more names to come, in fact. More names to come. 4 from finance, 1 from public works, 1 from MCC. More names will come.
4 from finance.
Finance, yeah, more names. Before we hit December, those names will come. I wouldn't tell you the names there, but they know themselves. But man, listen to me. What the international community did, or what the US did, was to act like they were not seen. And then you know the bad thing, if we're 30 persons and all of us got into, we put ourselves in the mud and they start picking us up one. You think I know that after they took you, they will come for me when they're taking you? And they know they will go after them. They know, they are aware.
Do you think US is just brushing around the mean tree?
Of course, but I had a detailor. Venina Euro on Sejo, Siri Allen on Sejo, Eddie Snow on Sejo. They went all around Taylor first before they came for Taylor. So if they can come for the chief of staff in the office of the president, they should say to you that the president is not far. Besides, when you go to the statement and look at the statement in totality with comprehension, you will realize that what our president did is even a challenge to the US government. When you read that statement, the US said nobody should do business with those people. No one is happy for someone to go on sanction. Anybody that is happy, that person got hit. But if you when you made your bed, so will you lie on it? Nobody made their bed for them. They make it themselves. So they will have to compare to later on because they make it their beds up. So it's a situation. So there is no way the president in a statement they told the president to investigate, do some investigation. No. They told the president to suspend. They told the president, even the both for us here, they say our association with those people must be careful. Because our association with them could even make us, all of us will be in the same boat. So that is the situation.
The president is expected to Washington December.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think his security is 100%?
His security is not 100%. But man, you get serious.
Why do you think this is to be done by the president? Or the U.S. government revoke the invite?
No. The U.S. ambassador said the president's team welcome to the U.S. on the conference.
You think he's going to be...
No, I don't know, but it's an unpredictable situation. It is unpredictable. The president needs to be careful. We have reached, we will get the best out of this government, but unfortunately, the way things have been going is been like somebody don't care. And I was talking to somebody, I said, look, there will be a time there will be individual sanction. He said, not possible. It's not possible. Your Honor, you're praying for Igbo. What do you mean I'm praying for Igbo? When someone is so happy, we're happy. Look, the money we spending to go for lobby is a waste of time. If we are doing our work, there is no need to go lobby. What are you lobbying for? Lobby means that you're bribing somebody, like you're going to school and you're paying flexibility fees to take exam. That bribe. It means that you never did well. You never studied well. So you bribing to pass, and you had the opportunity to study to pass, and you refuse to study to pass. You want to bribe? It makes no sense.
You think this sanction was trickled by someone from the opposition? Maybe
no, man. Leave opposition people, but the opposition people are struggling. They ain't even together right now. The opposition taking on their own issue. Look, the sanction was trickled by our own actions, doings, words, and deeds. It wasn't trickled by nobody. And our actions, our words, and our deeds, they were documented. That's just all. Nobody trickled the opposition people said about 2 men who come together for the then they will lead out everything, they be praying for somebody being. No. The opposition didn't even know the names. The opposition, as far as they were concerned, said that Washington has already forgotten about us.
The action by the president after those 3 top officials and personal friends of the president was sanctioned by the U.S. The action by him suspending them, do you think is something that additional punishment need to be added on?
The president need not have suspended. The president needed to get rid of them. That's all.
Get rid of them by what I mean?
You dismiss the people. Listen to me. You dismiss the people. You say face. But you have to be serious with the international world. They think talking. Liberia is because they know 3 people. Serena Silva. That's Serena Silva lenders like poor President Taylor in the head today. You know the role that Serena Silva play? Case Evan Serena Silva has in editorial. He could read on Case Evan in the evening. Read insults at the US. Read insults. at the United States of America, Serena Cephas. You brought in around you to mock you. There were people that Ellen disassociated herself from, that worked at the Taylor regime, in the hurricane of the Taylor regime, that were blacklisted. Ellen refused to work with them. President Weah, you promised us at your inaugural address that you would not use your clean character to cover up for people that have dirty characters. But you're not living up to it. So it means that you disappointed us and you lied to us, Mr. President. You having people with dirty character. Why are you keeping them? Are they more, what kind of competency they have in someone that different president don't have? The president knows little about governance. So I expected the president to bring people around him that know better about governance to help him to lead his country. Serena Cephas, they're not assets, that liability. You see where he got you to? You see where he got you to? Some of the things that Serena Cephas was doing, we're gonna hear you prosecuting Cummings on what? No. Why were you prosecuting Cummings? On which basis? And let's agree for the worst case scenario that Cummings was found guilty. Cummings penalty like $500 US sometime in prison. Cummings get for $500 because if you cannot afford the money before. So if for $500 US you are spoiling taxpayer money because to prosecute one person, you know how much it cost? The state. So you're wasting state resources on personal issues. Who do you say if Cummings was guilty? Say it means anything in Cummings political left. Like people don't get time for that thing. People kill the minute the red blood because the minute represent. Like people get time for that thing. So you're not making sense. So the president should have poured hot and tell Serena Cephas, "Mama, you're not making sense. You're not a serious man." You don't keep people like that around you. You have to keep serious people.
There were clues that the issue of the sanction were to come out in December. What do you think prompted the action of the U.S. to?
Maybe the U.S. don't want to wait for December.
Was it a statement by McGill in Banga?
McGill said he spoke in contest. So for me, I think there were a lot more. For example, let us win Tosso. Sometimes the way we carry ourselves create a problem for us. This is a country where you have 99% of the people living in abject, untold, strangulated poverty. So to carry yourself in their midst, you must be very careful. It's just that Liberia is a very good country. If that in other places, you can do some of the things we can do here. In the midst of poverty, you building 3-bedroom apartment for grave. In the midst of poverty, you spark all anger. And sometimes a PA like you play mockery all of the citizens. And you can't do that. So like I said, sometimes the way we carry ourselves put all into harm's way. So I believe that where we are is based on what we did in the past. That's just all.
We have this morning Mr. Otavin Toga Williams as our guest, former Vice President of the PUL. He joined us this morning talking issues of national concern. If you want to join us just shortly, you can join us on +231 77527 1672 out of Liberia. And if you're in Liberia, you call us on 0775271672. You will be live right here and making your point, ask your question if you have any. Now, Mr. William, let's look at. I want to get your side from the legal standpoint because I think you have a legal background. What is the legal implication as it relates to the present status of our country? Most especially the issue that has to do with a present government had criminals operating with them. The present government, 3 of the top officials have been sanctioned, and there are more names to come by clues. What do you think is the legal implication?
Well, it is a side situation for us. And what is sad about it is where we came from. We back there. The Taylor regime, where we came from. We back there. It's sad for us. And there will be more problem for us. There will be more problem for us. When we're not careful, we'll even be more strangulated as compared to the Taylor regime. Because, but man, we did more harm already. How do we repair them? Legally, you talked about where the country is. Oh man, the judiciary system in this republic is a mess. And if we even have more problems, it will be the judiciary. Of course, when you read the Treasury Department reports, when you read integrity institutions like Freedom House, like the same Amnesty International, you just read the climate report. What the climate report said? A Lebanese man at the Keno factory in Douala flogged a physically challenged woman, elderly woman, and the physically challenged woman, a crippled woman, beat the woman unmercifully until they both took the woman to a clinic. The police went to investigate the case. The police said the woman wrong. And it's pointed in that report. Where are we going? Someone is at APN terminal. The decent law that was created, the labor law created in this republic, say the people can gather and they can protest for their just benefit, and their protest will be to call the concern of the institution they're working for. The people raise it, they dismiss, and it goes to the legislature. The legislature says nothing. Where are we going? The Chief Justice who claimed that he was trained by the late Bishop Marco Kpakla Frenzy and knows about human rights issue sits there at the level of the Supreme Court. There are pre-trial detainees on the increase, a violation of those people's rights. Where you think we're heading? Legally, where are we? We are nowhere. The people we have, they are stooges. The full bench of the Supreme Court, including the Chief Justice, they are stooges of the